Okay, so this is part number 8 of the .NET MAUI tutorial that I was making, and let's actually add some logic to the number line page view model that we had here. So the first thing we need to do is create an observable property. So we create an observable property and an int, and let us call this slider current value. Okay, now I will just show you one thing. Okay, first we will show you that what this observable property has. It is using the component model, but if we remove the observable object, you see that the slider current value has a slight problem with us. So we must keep that on. Next, we create another observable property. This is another int, and I will call the slider max value. It's going to be the max value the slider can toggle itself between. Then I will create another observable property, another int, slider min value that IntelliSense just suggested to me that, so just press tab. Then I will create another observable property this time. So observable property int, and I'm going to call this the how many to move. So we'll create the how many to move, semicolon. Okay. The next thing we want is another observable property, correct answers. Let's just write that down. Semicolon. What's the problem? Well, I forgot to add that int. Okay, then let's create another observable property. So this is as well an int, and we need to tell the wrong answers, and then I will create another observable property, and finally we shall call this a total answers of the total questions that the user has already answered. Okay, semicolon. Now let us go to the bottom here in the number line page view model, and inside let us actually comment first, and let's comment and say set the slider min comma max comma current value and finally how many to move. And we are going to say randomize the numbers and click enter. Next, we need to actually really randomize them, so we need to get the min value first, and we will equals this to a random dot shared dot next, and we are going to do it between, well, we want to do it between how many? Well, 1, of course, that's certain. Between 1, that's the minimum value, by 1, 10, that should be the minimum value. Maybe 7. Anyway, then max value, I just tab because IntelliSense did that for me, is its minimum value is the slider minimum value, rather slider minimum value plus 3 comma 10 semicolon, and then let's create the final slider. The current value. Wait a minute. You must capitalize all these because they're observable properties. So slider current value is equals to random.gear.next. Sorry, we should not actually randomize this slider current value. We are going to actually set it to the minimum value. It's just that. Then underneath, we are going to create how many to move is random.share.next between 1 to 3. Okay. Let me just make no spacing between them. Anyway, whatever. I will just put a semicolon and I'll put a semicolon by deleting, because actually in the C# you can put a semicolon. So this actually does all the tabbing and indenting. So now let's just create a relay command, and there you are, it added this line, community toolkit.mvvm.input. Let's go to the bottom and let's create a private void, and this function is going to be the check function for checking the user's answer of how bad, how right, how wrong. This is going to be attached to button, and this is going to be the binding. Okay, so we just need to check if the slider current value is equals to slider minimum value, then first let's capitalize yes. As usual, you saw I didn't capitalize them, and that green line came, and make the H big as well. There's nothing small except for this one. Okay. Alright, so if the slider current value is equals to the slider minimum value, then we should give him an alert. So we'll tell him application dot current dot main page dot display alert. So we're gonna display an alert to the user, and you will soon see what a display alert actually looks like. So create these 3 strings. The first string is going to be the title, so we're going to give the title, what title should I give it? Error. I'll just tell him an error, and we give him an exclamation mark because there's a problem going on right here, so error. And we're gonna tell him you did not move the slider. You did not. Actually, I have to capitalize everything, that's why I removed it. Did not, and then we'll say move the slider and another exclamation mark. So this is the description. The first was the title, second was the description, and this is the button text. Okay, he's just need to click the button. Okay, and we want him to return to the top. Now we will again check if. So let's go below 2 and let's create an if. In this if, we are going to actually check whether the slider current value is equals to the slider minimum value, and we're going to say plus the the how many to move number, right? Well, I think it's slider. So just gonna say how many to move, and I will say give him an application dot current dot main page display alert. This alert is going to display him that he has done right, because if he moves the slider to the one that he had to move, he's going to be right. And then we are going to create the title, the description, and the button. So right here you can just, in the title, we're going to type in result, because we want to now tell him his results of that question. After we have done that in the result, we can tell him that great, we want to first tell him you know your stuff. Okay, it's like that, and just put an exclamation mark just to make it more wowing. And try to capitalize these, make them small. Anyway, let's move to the button and let's type in okay here again. Rather next question rather than okay. Type in next question. Press enter and tell him to increase the total answers by 1. And let's go to the T and fix it. And we also want him to increase the correct answers by 1. Okay. And you can see that, just scrolled up to see something. Anyway. Now we should check an else if he did something like really disastrous, wrong. So if the slider current value is equals to slider minimum value plus the how many move, the application or current on main page or display alert result great, stuff. Next question. Else we should application.current.main page .display alert. And what do we display him this time? Well, we display him his result, but in a failure way. So we tell him, hey, you know what? Your result is failure. And an exclamation mark. And then let's also click next question. Okay. Now we need to as well increase the total answers by 1. First, I just keep doing this. I don't fix them, but anyway, we need to increase the total answers by 1, and we need to increase the wrong answers as well by 1. Now we need to perform what? We'll perform checks for the whole test result that he got out. So right now we can application.current our main page to display alert his result failure in the next question, but we can't actually perform a check that he has passed this or he has not passed this, right? So to do this, we write another if statement, and we will say if the total answers is equals to 20, and then we use the and method. There's an or method, but we can just write and for now. Right now you don't need to use the or method. So total answers is equals to 20 and so this is gonna actually tell, and so this is basically like if total answers in English real format is if total answers is 20 and wrong answers is and correct answers rather than that. And correct answers is what? Well, of course we want it to be say about, I think we should set it about to maybe 16 maybe. Yeah, let me just say correct answers is greater than or equals to 5, rather 16. Forgot that. Application, so we just need to give him the application again. Application dot current dot main page dot display alert, rather navigation, no displaying this time, dot pop async. Pop async will take you to the previous page you came from. Then let's application dot current dot main page dot navigation I think we should first display him an alert rather than navigating him anywhere. And in this we are going to tell him whole test results, and if the correct answers and the total answers are 20 and the correct are 16, let's just tell him, oh no, you failed a number line. Wait, all this is wrong. This code that I wrote is actually telling me that he failed when he's supposed to be successful. No, that's not right. The user will be angry. Let's just tell him great job, because he did a great job answering those questions. Great job, you passed. Well, he passed the test. That's pretty certain. He passed the test. The number line test, rather, not test. The number line test. Okay. And now you just need to tell him okay. Now we need to write another if statement for this as well. So let us create another if this time, and this if is going to tell total answers is equals to 20, and wrong answers is greater than or is equals to 5. Let's just make it greater than or equals to 5. Then we should tell him, you know what, application dot current dot main page dot navigation dot pop async, and this navigation, the pop async, there are many more dots after the navigation that you can add. So there's a push async as well and a pop async as well. I've already written code for the push async. You may know that already because you have been following the tutorial. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it in here. Change this to a display alert, and open these three. You can just delete that pop async because it's no need for it anyway. Okay. Now let's tell him again whole test result. So we're going to copy this and we're going to put it in here. And this time we're going to tell him, oh no, you failed the number line test. Okay, you failed the number line test. And that's another exclamation. Let's put an exclamation here as well. And here let's put okay. That is it. So this is it, I think, for the logic. Okay. So what next do we do now? You can see we have set this lots of code. First we set the slider min max, current value, and how many to move, randomize the numbers. So we need to do that here again. So we're going to just slider min max current value and how many move, randomize the numbers after what? After the check is completed. So slider min max current value, you can see set this, we need all of this again and just put it there as well. Slider min max current value and how many moves, randomize the number after check. So that is it. Quite a lot. Now press Ctrl S and let's head over to the number line page view model and let's do some bindings. So the first bind we do here is for the max value. The second binding we do is for the minimum values, so binding with the slider minimum value. And then for the value that we have currently kept, we will have to set that to the current slider current value. Okay, so the slider maximum, minimum, and value have been actually done. Okay. Now, in this label text, we're going to fill a binding, and this is going to be the minimum value. It's going to be displaying label text binding the max now. And this is just for beginners. We're going to make the set called UI much better than this afterwards in the polishing video that I make. So label text binding slider current value. So now label text binding with the total answers. Same goes here. Let us open up the bracket and search for a binding called correct answers. And finally, in the last one, let's create a binding and wrong answers. Okay, so now make sure there's nothing left and hit the button on the Pixel 5 API 33, Android 13.0 API 33 that I have. You must know how to do it through the Android device manager. Okay, so let's wait for it now to actually get up and running. The emulator has already started, but the build is currently happening. Clear all. Anyway, it's taking some time. I think we should wait a bit for it. Alright, there you go. Just when I said there, it heard me, I think. It said, okay, I won't make him wait for a minute. Okay, so it's found the device, emulator 5554 as usual. Okay, I thought it had built it. Okay, this is taking some serious time. I think. Anyway, that's how mine works. Alright, there you are. Okay, since the Microsoft SQL Server Data Tools package did not load correctly. Okay, let's just press no and refresh. Let's wait for it. It's taking pretty time. Let us open the emulator. There you are. The app is on load. I think we should quit the emulator. Oh my god, this is taking a lot of time. Yeah, I'm quitting this emulator down. Alright, that fixed the problem. Okay, here you are. It's starting the emulator again, and there you are. It started. And now it will build it on. So there you are. I told you it was some small problem, but you just need to close your emulator and try it again. Okay, there you are. I can click the start button. I can go to tests. Yeah. But in the number line, if I go now, you'll have a surprise with so many values. And when I'm number line, and I can actually move this slider, and you can see the current value is actually moving. But I actually don't even know how many to move because that display is not there. So let's put some display the how many to move label right there underneath the button. Okay, so you'll have to use a string format in the UI. So let's create the label text, and this label text is gonna actually how many, oh sorry, I forgot binding, and then we're gonna say how many move, comma, string format is equals to 2 small colons, and in this we're going to write move the slider, and then we're going to create 2 curly brackets, and in between of these we need to put a 0. Move the slider 0 steps forward. This 0 means this 0 represents the how many to move variable. So now you see there, I think we'll have to refresh that. So let's refresh it. And open up the emulator now. There you are. Alright, so now let's click the start button. Let's click the yes, and in the number line. Okay, now he's telling me to move the slider 1 step forward. Okay, I move it to 3, and I check the answer, and there is nothing that occurs. I can click the check button, and this is because inside my check button I did not add a command. So let's add a command for this, and let's write a binding check command. There you are. You see the command's been added. Now if I check, anyway it won't work. You have to refresh because it doesn't work with new bindings occurred and put. Okay, there you are. .NET shows up, and there you are. So we start. We can go to the tests. We can click yes, and go to the number line. And finally, if you move this one, first I'll check, and it's gonna give me the error and say you did not move the slider. Okay, I'll move it maybe 1 step forward to get the answer right. And there you are. Great, you know your stuff. Telling me to move it. I'm moving it to the last one. There you are. The random number worked, and it said to me to move 2 now. So this is all we had to write for the logic. We needed to also add bindings, but no worries. I shall see you in the next video where we shall add some UI to the addition page. Okay, so I shall see you in the next video.